Hello, everyone. Welcome to Born to Build. I have another wonderful guest with me today. I have Sunay Narkar with me. Sunay Narkar has been a very close friend of mine. We were colleagues first, friends next, mentor, so many things. He's been an entrepreneur. He's been one of those serial entrepreneurs who has done multiple things, some of them successful, some were experiments. He's been in the corporate world. Sunay brings a rich background of electronics, marketing, product development, so many things. So we'll go deep into these discussions with Sunay. So Sunay, very glad to have you on my show. I'm privileged to be talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Girish. Thanks for inviting me. I'm actually excited to talk to you about the Born to Build. Yeah, more than happy
So
to have this conversation.
fantastic, fantastic. So I was just telling Sunay that the way I came up with this channel is I was having discussions with a couple of our friends, and then I realized a lot of people need inspiration to do things. I mean, people have a lot of ideas, people have talent, skills, all those things, but sometimes they just need to hear some things for other people and think like, okay, this guy did something, I can also do this. So that's where we thought like, we can just trigger some of this inspiration in youngsters and even people like us to make them do things. That is why it's called Born to Build. All of us are. We are all born to build. And this is where I want to make a compliment to Sunay. So Sunay kind of, embodies the spirit of this whole channel. I'll tell you why. I think Sunay and I have innumerous conversations on new ideas. We trigger things, we start discussing things, we want to do things. I remember having these coffee conversations with Sunay where we used to sit in Hatti Kapi. So we are all Bangaloreans. And we actually wrote out a flow of how ChatGPT would look like. At that time, there was no ChatGPT. I was asking Sunay, like, Sunay, what do you think? I think we should put all knowledge base and make it queryable. And Sunay was like, yeah, I mean, he basically led me through that whole conversation, trying to see if we can build something out of it. So he's that kind of a person, and that's why I said he embodies the spirit of this channel. I don't know if you remember those discussions, Sunay. So,
Actually, Girish, what happens is we had that discussion maybe 7, 8 years back or something like that, and you are showing me what ideas can be uh, worked out around a very, very open, and for anybody to get any kind of information. And precisely ChatGPT is around that time. I'm really glad that somebody has done it, and you envisioned that long back. Yeah, and
uh, yeah,
really,
I
really
mean,
hats off to
yeah.
you for that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, I mean, I don't want to take credit for entire Chat GPT, but yeah, I mean, I think we were both excited to think of
Yes,
lot of different
correct,
things. Yeah,
exactly.
and in fact, Sunai's projects are also very exciting. I keep learning a lot from him. So he brings a wealth of knowledge in electronics, some of the components, and the systems engineering side of it. So Sunai, I don't know if you still have a lab at your home, and if you're still tinkering and building things. Yep.
Yeah, Girish. Actually, that's what my passion is. I have a lab at home. I keep doing tinkering. I keep thinking what I should do. Keep working on different ideas. I miss you because we used to discuss so many things at least in a week, at least twice or thrice. But now
Yeah,
I miss that opportunity. But of course, yeah, I keep following my passion. See,
yeah.
tinkering lab is one part of it, but basically ideas are such that there are n number of ideas which comes to your mind. Then we have to really understand what works, what doesn't work. We have to talk to people like you. We have to basically understand what is the potential for that. So yeah, I'm completely busy in all of this, and I love to be part of this actually.
Fantastic. So, yeah, that's where I said that you're also now in a role where you've been mentoring multiple startups, right? Ideas. I mean, startups need not be something huge. It starts with an idea and it goes far. So that kind of embodies the spirit of this whole show. So that's where I just want to put out one question to you, right? Um, so where does that spark come for you? I mean, like, why do you want to keep on inventing things? And what drives you?
Yeah, this goes to really way back in time when I was in school, right? Uh, I met one. I still remember that day. It was an electronics dealer in my small hometown place, and he asked me, "What do you want to do?" So I said, "I want to become engineer." He said, "What you'll do after becoming engineer?" I said, "I'll get you into a job." He said, "Once you get into a job, right, you will be constrained with so many things. You will become an entrepreneur. You will see the world will be at your feet, and so many things you can do. But of course, don't come under the pressure and get into the entrepreneurship. You have to basically keep your wings open, have the freedom that whatever you want to do. From that time onwards, I've been living that dream. And yeah, of course, initial part of my career, I have to work because of the various family reasons. But yes, ultimately, that's my
Yeah.
objective. And that day is still driving today.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I wanted to hear from you, right? So a lot of the youngsters, kids that I talk to, they say like,
In
why do
fact,
I
you
want to
see,
do this?
somebody has influenced me that time, right?
Absolutely. I mean, today you are an influence on all the others. So fantastic. Yeah. So the if you look at the spark part of the conversation, what drives us, I think if you talk to kids and even youngsters today, they are mostly running after money. They are trying to achieve their next big goal of, making X amount of millions of dollars or whatever. Or somebody's trying to do startups which wants to be unicorns. But you are a person who actually solved some real world problems. I I I I actually am in I envy the way you look at it. So I remember you and I talking about solving mosquito problems. You don't have to go into details of any of the confidential projects and some of the products you're driving, but generally, I think you had a lot of interest in solving day-to-day things, right? And we also got into a little bit of discussions on water management, which also went, I think, eventually became a completely different product. Do you want to touch upon how real-world problems really inspires some of your ideas?
Yeah, yeah. See, what happens is we when we are talking about the entrepreneurship or idea, which has to be become a commercial hit in the market, as you said, most of the people know they think, what, how can I make money? How can I make money in short term? See, this direction when you start looking into, you will not head anywhere. But if you start really looking the life very closely in your day-to-day life, keep meeting people, have a good engaging discussion with them, people will come and tell you, "Oh, this, I have this problem, I have that problem." Likewise, right, some people came to me, they said that mosquito repellent, whatever is there in the world today, it is not working the well as effective as we need. And in that process, right, we have to really understand the behavior of the mosquito. We see mosquito is such a small thing, but then they are smart, they are very very smart. So they
Absolutely.
get used to the mosquito repellents in the market. So what do we do such way that we basically arrest the mosquitoes in these such environments? And I bring my experience has been electronics, but there are a lot of other things apart from electronics like material science, chemicals, so many other things. So like-minded people, when they start working together, then we start discussing about a solution. And once we start about talking about a solution, we have to drive it to make that solution work in the real life environment. When we have to say real life environment, then yeah, if we do something like this, something like that, things will work out. Or maybe I will bring this chemical, put it at home, and the mosquito will start repelling. It is not like that. You have to make a proper product so that people start using it. And then it brings a lot of constraint. How do I power it up? Should I power it up or not? Or should we operate on the battery? How long the battery life will go? Will the mosquito really get repelled on this thing? How do I test it? How do I make sure the product is reliable? On top of that, how it is safe. So all our passions really goes into all of that to make it a realistic product, which becomes a ultimate product by anybody can use it. So I start focusing on all of that. So realization is something which I like to do it once we define the problem statement, right? And we have to consider all these aspects.
This
Yeah.
is where I have a question for you, Sunay. So, if I was an electronics engineer, right, and even if, let's say, I'm an entrepreneur or somebody who has this spark to do things, I wouldn't really worry about the mosquito problem. There is something special about how you find out these ideas and how it attracts, your attention to solve a particular problem. I think that is what I was trying to find. And if I understand this correctly, like you actually enjoy coming up with a solution more than applying electronics to it. So is it more
Yeah.
like you look for problems that needs to be solved first?
Yeah, so identifying a problem is really important, and not only identifying a problem, but what is the how big is the problem? That is something very important actually. So, a mosquito problem, when we start talking about, we are talking about what repellents are available in the market, how much volumes they are selling into, what
But
kind of problems they are getting
s-
into.
So sorry to interrupt, but that doesn't come with your electronics background, right? How did you
Yeah,
get all that knowledge?
yeah. So what happens is when we start talking to the industry expert, like first thing we have to do it is listening skills. Typically, youngsters know they think that I have an idea and it is a great idea. But until unless you basically put a weight on that idea, that or measure how big is the idea or how small is the idea. So people in the industry they started telling me, please listen to the people who has experience, and then think, ask difficult questions. So when you start talking about the difficult questions, and people like young people, they start to go away. They don't want to really talk about the answer the difficult problem. They try to shy away from that, but it does not take much time. Once you start addressing the difficult problems, ask yourself, start challenging yourself, you will find that the answers are very simple and you will get the answer
Yeah.
fast.
But
So
there's
that
also
is the skills we have to build actually.
Yeah, but there's also something there. So apart from trying to solve a real world problem, you also bring in breadth of knowledge, right? Apart from your electronics, you are also bringing in knowledge like how do chemicals work, how do repellents work, how does heat work on the repellent, does it really affect the mosquito? So how does somebody develop that breadth of skills? Is it something that's special to you, or is it something people can develop?
Yeah, there's nothing special to anybody, I would say. See, person once it is fully involved in the work, right? You don't think that I'm just the electronics engineer or I'm just a software engineer or I'm just a mechanical engineer. You think the problem holistically, how it is going to help the customer. From that perspective, when you start thinking, you will solve the problem. You will start thinking like a customer. Oh, I'm not bothered about just electronics. I want this product to work. For this product to work, what are the things it has to work, it has to happen. So I'll say electronics is just an enabler of a whole solution. So I need to understand, right, is the chemical ways of solving the problem, or there are some other mechanism which you can solve the problem, or there are some software which can problem, or there are some new sensors available in the market. So you have to keep investigating what all the options you have, and to solve the problem, and amongst all the options we have to see which is the most viable option, because ultimately customer has to buy it. So then you start choosing that, and at the same time you have to see is that solution scalable enough so that you can manufacture it.
So is that something that comes by experience, or is it more like you explore the world more and understand these things? How do you look at that?
Definitely experience is the one thing, but I would like to tell the young kids that if, because they don't have experience, they need to have one skill which is basically open to learn, open for ideas, and don't have to really get into argument. Don't get it defensive. Be open. Uh, People around the world, they are not here to steal the ideas. I think that is one mentality people get into,
Yes.
but they are here to help you out. Even though somebody want to steal it, it is okay. You people are young. That is also one of the learning which you will have it. But until unless you show open mind, you will not learn. So that's where once you start talking to people, you will get a number of different perspective, and take all the perspective and start thinking how we can build a solution on it. So that skill, I think, I have learned with time. I think that is something which anybody can basically keep in mind and work towards
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think we can also broaden the scope of that suggestions and the advice you have to the next age group. So the people in their 30s and 40s. If you take a typical AI ML engineer today, he is trying to shoot for building the next Chat GPT or the next LLM, which is going to solve some fancy problem, right? Nobody really applies it to something as simple as, let's say, water management or environment management, right? Look, I think that bridge is missing. So when you are mentoring some of the startups or some of the engineers, do you see or do you try to help them connect this to real world, or do you let them flow with the technology and then find the solution? How do you go about this?
Yeah, see, one thing with experience I learned is technology is the enabler. Technology solves the problem, but technology cannot be the driving force. First, you have to understand the real world problem. Start basically thinking very specific problem to solve. How can I solve it? How can I really see it is going to help the end user? And then start applying the technology to make it more rugged, more scalable, and it can be basically used by many people in the world. So I think that is one thing which is important. People say technology is the thing, but we should learn how to apply the technology for a
Yeah.
given problem.
Yeah, I was having a different discussion with another speaker where we were talking about what can be that particular thing that drives the spark or that drives somebody to innovate, that drives somebody to come up with ideas. And one thing I was trying to pitch for is curiosity. I said that curiosity is really important to, try to understand everything around you. And it should be natural. It's not like you're simply asking why about every piece, but it's just natural for me. If I have some new keyboard or something, it's natural for me to understand how those keys work. Is it some kind of a membrane or is it a mechanical switch? It comes naturally to maybe an people of my generation or something. So how do you spark that creativity in the youngsters today? Like, do you just expose them to a lot more things in the world, or do we go on preaching and saying, guys, you need to find these things?
Actually, you answered it already, Girish. Curiosity is the thing, and that is true, very true. Until unless we start basically show interest in many things around us, right? And also start asking questions. You don't have to really accept the world as is. You can always make it better. That's where things have changed in the world. In every generation after generation, we have seen the world is maturing day by day. So you need to start challenging and don't give up on that.
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
curious, keep challenging.
Absolutely. So I just want to connect it back to another speaker's advice who said curiosity is one thing, but let's make sure that the kids have strong foundations yeah, I mean, let's complement it with good foundations. That's what you are saying. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I think overall what I get out of this particular topic is that we need to have encourage kids and even people who are starting up companies to look at real world problems and try to apply technology to that rather than invent technology and then go find a problem for to suit that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I just want to switch over to a slight variation on this topic. So you were also working a lot on components and you were working on supply chains and trying to optimize how do we make something in large scale. So today, if we look at some of the startups, they do these IoT products, they do sensors, they come up with webcams which are AI enabled. So today, for somebody in India who's trying to start up a electronics company, um, do you prefer sourcing components from places like China or those things, or do you encourage them to build all of these technology in-house? Like you have a very rich experience on fabrication, some of the prototyping, all those things. So how would you advise somebody who wants to start up in the electronic space today?
yeah, yeah. See, electronics, fortunately or unfortunately, has a lot of dependency on China in current scenario. Somebody's going to start their own venture in which has got electronics. Uh, then it means that they are starting fresh. It is not that they have a prior electronics product experience or they know how to do the supply chain. Assuming that this is the kind of a scenario, then it is always good that they let them consider electronics sourcing uh, the common component which are available in the market. So, like resistors, capacitors, standard components like power supply related items. Everything there, it is really cheap available in China. But again, you don't have to go to China for that. There are so many portals which are available in India who basically get this in smaller quantities at lower cost. Make use of that. Don't always be sitting in front of a laptop and portal. Try to go to your own city and there will be electronic market there. Try to spend hours together talking to the people who are selling the electronic components. Build a rapport with them. They also want to know what's happening in the new world. They're all people sitting there selling the component, but they don't know what the components are being used for. So you will definitely learn a new innovation model. But that's
Yeah.
the
So
starting point.
yeah. So I'll just take this example of a AI-enabled camera. So I want to put cameras all over my apartment complex, which kind of turn on and off based on activity, and I also want to build software on that. So as a software engineer, it's much easier for me to look at all the AWS solution or an Azure solution, which gives me AI components. I can handle data. I can massage it, put it in a nice visual display. I can do all sorts of things on that. But what I probably do not have as a software guy is, even though I have this idea of a AI-enabled camera, I don't know where to get the components. I may have to rely completely on somebody with electronics background to come up with a camera. Maybe they will source it from somewhere. So how do I find a co-founder for this product? Do I have to just reach out to people with electronics background, or do I just go and talk to all these component vendors, identify a camera? What did you advise to me?
Yeah, yeah. If you don't have the experience, right, how to kickstart, best is to take help from somebody who has the knowledge in electronics and get going from that. That is a good advice. Well, there are many people available in the industry who basically are ready to support, and there are a lot of YouTube videos. So you can try to understand how to source it, how to design it. See, sourcing is one part. How do I design a particular circuit to make it work for the idea what I have? Let's say example, you're given up a IoT or the AI camera. Now, where do I get the camera sensor from? So there are a couple of websites available from where you can get it, but we need to understand what camera suits my requirement. It's not just the camera, right? I need to understand what is my field of view, what is my lighting condition for which I'm developing this thing, and then once I get the image from the camera or the video from the camera, how do I write a software so that I can stream that video? If I need audio, I can connect the microphone. And how do I basically multiplex and put it into a codec and give it for a specific application? So start basically thinking not only from electronics, but how do I basically ensure all these aspects are taken care and engage the people accordingly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
hardware
yeah.
is one part of it, optics is one part of it, lightning is another part of it. So yeah, it may be a good start.
Yeah,
Start
but the
exploring
next
this.
next stage or next problem that I face, because I have no background on electronics. Okay, I mean, when I say I have no background, I'm not into that profession anymore. I did study electronics a long time ago, so I know how to do software. I'm very good at managing. I believe I'm good at managing such software aspects. But now I'm talking of this camera, and you said we can connect to different component designers or people who have knowledge on this. But when I'm talking of fabricating this, right, uh, I would still need to make the sample prototype of a circuit which can attach all these sensors, detect movement, and try to do the recording and then push it to the cloud. This whole piece is something I have to prototype. How do I take it to fabrication next? Because I don't have any background on how do I mass produce these things. I won't be able to sit and solder all these boards and then come up with these cameras. How do we scale this particular idea?
Yeah, yeah. So prototyping is something where there's a good ecosystem in India right now. So once we have your design ready, uh, again, I don't want to talk about very specific vendors or ecosystem which is there, but if you just find a Google it, you will find a number of vendors who can fabricate your design. So get the components from various portals which are available. You can get the components even outside India or within India. Make the design of your own circuit design, PCB design, and now it's kind of time comes to fabricate it. So there are vendors who can help you to fabricate it. Once you get fabrication, there are companies who can help you to assemble it, or you yourself can do it to start with to gain the confidence. Once you get that confidence, you test it out. There are contract manufacturer. We call them EMS, Electronic Manufacturing Services. Uh, they basically talk about how can I scale that thing for a higher volume and at the same time reduce the cost. So that you don't have to have a factory for yourself when you are working on an electronics idea. You don't need that. There are supply chain. There is a end-to-end supply chain available who will play their own role with a given margin. And then it is not that it's going to be very expensive. In fact, it is everybody adds value. You can still make a viable product by ensuring that somebody else manufacture for you and uh, make it a sellable product at a right cost.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a fantastic viewpoint because this is what happens when I speak to even colleagues and some of my friends, right? They are so good at one area and they believe that they can actually define the entire manufacturing process, come out with the idea, and they will keep talking, making assumptions, right? There are so many touch points here that you need to be aware of. But don't most people are not aware. So it basically puts a focus on why mentorship is needed. because I may be good at a certain area, I may be an expert, but still I would need to have a very broad set of skills to actually come out with this product and make it successful. So Sunay, are you still taking mentors? I mean, are you still taking mentorships? I mean, you must be coaching a lot of youngsters, companies, so people can they reach out to you and get advice?
Yeah, yeah, anytime. I'm more than happy. See, that's what I think we discussed in the beginning. As far as you are learning, as far as you show curiosity, you are live. So that's what I. So
Absolutely.
with experience, I'm still young person.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll just switch into a slightly different topic on this one. Since you work with so many different types of people who are building products, you're also working with, I mean, you have your own business running. You also have a very busy family life as well. How do you manage your productivity? Does it drain you out, or is there some secret formula? How do you manage it?
I'll tell you when things you're not working on the things you like, right? That's what you it will drain you. But when you're working on something you like, even though whatever time available in the world, you will not be drained. You will feel very happy. You will get a very peaceful sleep.
Absolutely.
So it's that again, people have to learn how to manage the bandwidth. So how to prioritize and when to do what things. So I think people are smart enough, they'll understand what you can do while you are driving, what you can do when you are basically sitting at home, what you have to do when you are at office,
So
what to do when you are in
i-
break.
is your mind always busy? Like, do you always keep thinking about uh, one of the projects or your work or something? Is it like you always have a fully loaded mind?
Not really. I spend some good times with my family as well. So when I'm spending time with them, I share my experiences of what I'm doing it. So they also become curious. They also want to know why, what's happening. My daughter keeps asking me, what's happening to that project? What's happening to this project? So it is a like we are journey together. So
Uh,
though I don't want to make it, it becomes the family is involved in whole of
No,
this thing. So
that's an awesome, I mean, an awesome thought process. So when you involve somebody deeply, I mean, when I say deeply, at least at a conversation level, they also get into this whole. They are with you. They are your lifeline. Family is the support we have, and when they are involved, they're actually going to push you a little bit, saying, "Did you do that, or did you finish it?" And so that's how it
likewise,
is spent.
we have to also talk to like show interest in what they do. So that is also important. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's another thing. So I basically wanted to see if there are some gems of wisdom from you on how do you manage productivity, because I know that you're extremely busy and you do lots of stuff and you still find time for this show. That says that there is something you're finding. You're finding time for Girish, but at the same time you are spending time and sharing things with people,
yeah,
right?
I'll tell you my perspective. The way I see it is this podcast or whatever we are doing, right? Even though one person get influenced with this, right? I think I am doing something for my country. That's why I look at it actually.
Awesome, sir. At least I want to see next generation or even people like us maybe getting something out of it. So there is one other thing I forgot to mention on this episode. So there is another segment of people who I also found that they are also looking for inspiration. There are a lot of people heading into their 50s and 60s, people who are about to retire, and all of their life they've just worked. They have done very hard work. They've achieved a lot of things. People have been in fancy roles, all those things. But once they come out of their corporate lives or even busy lives, they really don't have anything else to do. And that's where I see a lot of people struggling. And I said, born to build should be something uh, where people can come and contribute in a way, saying that, guys, I've lived a life that was very rich. I've done all these things. Here are some things that will work. Here are some things that will not work. And they can also share how they are getting into their elder years, like what keeps them busy. They still have that spark. For example, I also have a little bit of spark left in doing things, but I don't take on big projects. I don't dream of building the next Googles and Facebooks. That's not even in my mind or radar now. So I think that's another segment that would really benefit from advice. What do you suggest for the older generation? How do you ask them to go on with these things?
It is true, sir. Basically, people who are expert in their domain, like they have built some skills with time, and they're really good in that. So they can do a little bit of contribution from that skills and knowledge they have. It is just they have to be open for people to give that knowledge free. I think it
Yeah.
is a good starting point.
Yeah, I
And
think
then once the
too many people hold it back, right? They don't want to
yeah,
share things.
Correct. It is. I have experienced, and I am firm believer that knowledge is basically expands or you enhance it by sharing it. So, absolutely, there is no point. There is no way of keeping it to yourself. It's not going to help
Yeah,
you
yeah.
or anybody else, for that
Yes,
matter. Both.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
and
that
that's
is
just a
also,
starting point, right? With the age, you can do that much minimum, but you can do much, much more than that as well.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have to have
I
any fear, actually.
uh,
Just
I
go.
I recall a particular book. I think it was Marshall Goldsmith. I forgot the author's name, but the book was called Strength to Strength, which talks about how we as people, humans, right? We acquire some strengths in our younger days, maybe up to our 20s and 30s, and we use that as the skill set to navigate through our professions. And then we keep on trying to, sharpen those skills. We try to be the best at the job. Then next 10 years, I try to sharpen the same skill. Okay, I learned C, now I'm going to learn C sharp. I learned some other cloud tools, AI, but basically, I'm trying to focus on only one particular strength that I have, and you keep on sharpening it. And I think that book really gave me some very good ideas, saying that as we get older, there you should go from one strength to another strength. I mean, as you hit into your 40s and 50s, no, the strength becomes your wisdom. Actually, the wisdom that you have collected over the years, that is your strength. You should start focusing more on that and start to get away from the same tool that you used in the last 20
Correct.
years,
Correct.
right? I think that's, yeah.
Tool are the enablers, right? That's what I'm saying. Technology is the enablers. For what you're using the technology, how can you make the technology better? I think these are some of the things which will help you based on your experience.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when you or we or anybody started in, let's say, in the electronics profession, we were more focused on getting the designs to work, getting some of the, understanding all your, I don't know, Fourier analysis, all those things to get the entire design right. But then most people get stuck there. We end up trying to do the same thing over and over again across the years. But in you, I see one very special ability that I learned from you. You try to start applying it into a product. You spoke about going outside of electronics, going into chemical engineering a little bit, understanding the world, a lot of things. I don't want to list out the things we have discussed, but basically you try to massage it into a product that can actually solve a problem for a lot of people. Then you bring in marketing. You talked about supply chains. You talked about supplementing your skills with people who do the fabrication. I think that mindset is what we as the next generation need to go from one strength to strength rather than just holding only one particular thing.
True, true. It is just you cannot do everything in the world. You need to basically be open, and everybody is playing a role. You will gain experience in that. Some of the things you will do yourself with time, but whether you feel there is a complementing skills and add value addition, it is good to basically adopt to that, accept that, and go from there. Very
So there was
important.
one other theme that was going on in the previous talk where we talked about how education itself may have to change as we go through the years. This idea of having a systematic fixed educational syllabus and having children go through that and come out and expect them to be uh, I don't know, employees, or expect them to be entrepreneurs, that might be outdated. We may have to rework a lot of that. So in that space, I remember you were talking about a very unique idea where you wanted the reading experience to be more interactive rather than just opening up a book and just trying to read. Because children, you show them a big book and ask them to read, that's not inspirational for them, right? I think those are the kind of ideas that are really needed to bring some changes in the kids. Anything you want to share on that idea? I mean, if it is something you can speak about.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, as I said, I'm a mentor to a couple of startup companies. When people come with a technology, that how can we apply this technology, right? So that's where we start discussing the ways and means. So this is one very interesting problem which we as a team working on. What we have seen in different life, which is not good, is that when a child, which is like of the age of 3, 4, 5, right? For them to start eating right inside the plate, they don't need food. They just need a smartphone inside the plate, and then they need the food.
Well
Very,
said.
very poor state of affair right now. That's how it is. So how can we basically make them live a normal life without needing a smartphone? So how do we engage? How do we can they can learn? them naturally, because at that age it's not good to see the smartphone. They
Yes.
need something different ways to engage and learn. And what we see is with time, people are not uh, basically liking the books or reading the books. So we did something very interesting. We made the books engaging for the kids by basically with the vision application, where kids can see themselves in the book with the different expressions, and they really see themselves very confident. So one has to really reflect. The reflection of the kid should be strong enough that they feel that they are strong enough to basically see the world. It is not only just engaging the book, but it is basically changing their, reforming themselves. And we that experiment has been really worked out well, and people are liking it. Uh, where the company who I mentor, they're selling lakhs and lakhs of book right now,
Yeah,
and they're really
absolutely.
doing good actually.
Absolutely. So this
So
is one of
yeah,
the most interesting problems and solution that I've come across. So this basically says that kids are like so addicted to smartphones and the instant gratification they get from devices. How do you get them back into books? Because the slow learning process is what really lasts throughout their life. But they're all stuck into this, reels and shorts, 5 seconds, and I'm on to the next topic. So you don't really digest anything, but you're just going with a pleasure going from one one topic to the other. I think that's where I really enjoyed, yeah, that particular idea you talked about, where you bring them back into books. It's fantastic. Um, so you have been working with very different kinds of products, not the typical product that people want to just build, make millions of copies, make money, and run away. So, for example, this particular mentoring project you talked about, this is about trying to bring that joy of reading back into books for children, because that basically affects their whole life.
yeah,
And you've also worked with other mentored and you work with other startups where you try to solve the drinking water problem. So, like, do, do you get this satisfaction that, okay, I solved something that will actually last a long, long time, whether it makes a million or billion-dollar startup or not? But I think I'm sure you derive satisfaction that you solved something that really lasts the test of time. Do you want to speak about
yeah,
how
yeah.
you pick your ideas?
Yeah, the basically end of the day, right? The way whatever problem you're solving, and when you start, somebody is using it and it is making difference to their life, right? That satisfaction is basically nothing beats that satisfaction. And whatever energy you put in to make them their life better, uh, definitely once they start liking it, right? You don't have to worry about the scale. You don't have to worry about how it will change your fortune. It will happen.
But do
Sometimes
your
it takes more time, sometimes less. Yeah.
so do your startups come to you for advice on how do I scale this and make it a billion or $1 trillion business? Those kind of things. What advice do you have for them?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, work on the right problem. That's the first thing. Work on the right solution, so that that solution is acceptable to the customer. Of course, that when I say these two words, it is not only we have to have a lot of discussion around is it a right problem. Then second thing is what is the right solution. The technology plays an important role. The end customer plays an important role. How you can basically make that solution available in what form also plays a role. And then is that solution scalable, and how can we see there are multiple puzzles in the game. See, when we're talking about a specific idea where a problem which you are working on, how do you make a product which can be made in in millions, and it will going to help. So that when we break it down, there are multiple aspects. Some are technical aspects, some are financial aspects, some are marketing aspects. So we need to really have make sure that all the aspects are addressed equally well. So one is, I said, is the right problem or not. Second is the right solution. Is the right solution manufacturable? Uh, now, do we have money to make sure that we cover all the aspects? Like we have money to design, we have money to manufacture. Then in this process, you don't have to really wait for end marketing to happen later, but they should be again involved from the day one, so that they keep giving the feedback that yes, the customers are liking it, taking their
Yeah.
feedback. Is it right or wrong? So plan the marketing activity. So everything
Fi-
has to be thought through. Yeah.
Yeah. So finance is another aspect that most of the startup founders struggle with, even for a youngster who's starting up a new product, right? They go into this rabbit hole of trying to figure out Series A funding, B funding, angel investors, seed funding. What advice do you have for them? For somebody who's from middle class, who's like, just making a living. Do you ask him to take on big products, or do you ask him to, I mean, do you say that constrain your dreams to something that is achievable, or do you say that go ahead and dream freely, but you will still find a way to finance it? What advice do you have there?
Yeah, yeah. So entrepreneur or anybody, not even entrepreneur, let us call somebody has got an idea. Now that person should ask self that am I doing this thing to gain the funding, or I am going to do something so that naturally the funding will come on its way. So somebody say that I want to build this idea, I want to make it work, and I need funding for that. Without that, I cannot do. That approach will not lead you because you are showing from day one dependency. Only when I get funding, I will do it. But you have an idea and you have to make it work. Then funding is not the starting point. Funding is one of the important milestone, but you need to break your idea and realization of the idea or revenue coming from that idea such a way that you manage within your constant funds. When you say constant funds, uh, you basically think that I have idea, I can't build it because I don't have money. But then get like-minded people, at least who think they can also contribute, and they will start developing some core technologies or some part of the system. I'm making it generic, not just software, because software is just one part of our life. There are so many other things happen. So somebody has got idea in material science, somebody has idea in furniture, somebody has ideas in paper, or somebody has got in nature. We don't know. There are multiple things. So people, you need like-minded and skilled people to really help, or you need mentors, or you need somebody who want to really work on such ideas, who are senior people. Sometimes the professors they can guide. So be open for all of that. And then once you think that, yes, people are liking it, I think I can make a product, then in that process, no, you will definitely get a funding. So I just recently, I have heard this statement multiple times from the startup entrepreneurs. When you go and talk to people and ask for funding, you will get the advice. But when you go and talk to people to get the advice, you will get the funding.
So
That's a fact.
I think that's the secret. Okay. Yeah. So you don't look for money, but you go with the idea and the potential, and you're looking for help in making it successful. That's when you get money. So that's something people need to watch out for. Fantastic advice. Yeah. So um, there is another part of this whole in this equation of building successful products. There's money, there's the idea itself, then the breadth of skills required to build something, mentoring, because people like you are the people who will say that, okay, you lack these areas, let's try to supplement that with knowledge or people, whatever. There is another area that's also important. So feedback from the people. So I launch a particular product, I put it out there, and like people say, it's an echo chamber. The more my own circles that I ask, the more I talk to them and say, how's the product? How do you like it? I'm probably going to hear a word saying that it's fantastic, go for it, this is it. But that may not be the truth. So how do you guide your startups to actually get real world customer feedback for their products?
Your the customer base or the trial base, if you make it more meaningful and effective, I think that's where, see, talking to your friends is one part of it, but are you talking to the right person? Is he going to be the end user? Uh, so you need to go and talk to the end users who for whom this product is going to make the difference, and have a good sample base of such people, and then you will definitely find a trend. See, finding the trend is really important. If you are everybody saying good, 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 is not enough. People start criticizing. People start talking about that this is not there, that is not there. That should not discourage you. Help to basically take that data, analyze the data, get the pattern out of it. Once you know the pattern, then you can start building a solution around that pattern.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's very
I mean,
important actually.
being open for criticism, constructive criticism, those kind of things. Yeah, I think that's equally important. One last question or advice that you have for people who are trying to build the next big product. We have a, I mean, if you look at India, we have very unique problems. There was a previous speaker who talked about garbage being a huge problem for India. That's not the first thing that comes to an entrepreneur's mind, but it is actually a huge problem and a lot of area for innovation. So similarly, you talked about water at some point, we talked about education at some point. And India being unique, we don't have a very open ecosystem for VC funding, getting a lot of money into these small startups. So given all these constraints, today, if somebody wants to just start with knowledge of computers and electronics, what area is ripe for innovation? Because I'm sure you have seen a lot of it now. Which area do you think makes a lot of sense?
Uh, there's no straight answer for what is the right area. Basically, the you should be able to relate to that idea. You should be able to feel that I belong to this idea and I need to really work on it. So when he feels that this is I basically want to work on this, that somewhere that connection has to build. And for young people, they might feel that this connection is there for multiple things. There's nothing wrong. Try out all the things. You will find a path, because there's some learning also involved in this whole process. So what idea of which tech? So technology, as I said, you become a graduate or in one particular stream. It could be BCom, it could be electronics, it could be software. But then that is just one part of it. But when you talk about which area I need to work on, you'll start gauging the world the way you look at it. If you think you can, well, and if you think you are not, somebody else is there. Go and associate yourself with them.
So,
So because
so
somebody else is
experiment.
looking at the problem, you will learn in that process.
So
Everybody
experiment
has a
more and
playbook.
more.
Yeah, more and more. Yeah,
Yeah.
until unless you
And
experiment, you'll not know. There's no
yeah,
straight ways.
yeah.
Today this is
This
going to
so
work, right? We don't
so
know.
there's no formula as such. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Sunay, thank you. I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm sure there are a couple of j- different types of people who will take a lot of knowledge out of this. So there are these youngsters, obviously, who are looking for people like you who have mentored, who have created startups, who are still doing things on their own. That's another thing. I think the younger generation is going to benefit from this for sure. And people like us, we are also looking at people like you and people who are still in the field trying to innovate, come up with new product ideas. We also get to learn and we also get inspired. So this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for sparing time for this episode. I hope to meet you more with more specific topics. I wanted this particular episode to be just a broad introduction to what Sunay Narkar has been doing. Hopefully you'll be able to spare some more time as we go forward.
Definitely, Girish. Yeah, and all the best, Girish. This is something which I really like what you're doing, and I know you have been really very eager to do something from different things what you do. So this is one of your, I would say, uh, project, and I really wish you best. Whatever required, we are here to support you. Wish
Thank
you
you,
best luck.
Sunay. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure to talk to you. We'll catch up.
Thank you. Thank you, Krish.
Thank you.